In this video, we are going to talk about the divorce of John Milton. You know, John Milton is one of the great poets of England and all over the world of the English literature. Now, uh, everybody knows that Milton had a divorce with his wife. Now, let's see what happens to his divorce. Milton wrote The Divorce and Doctrine of Divorce. Milton wrote The Doctrine and Discipline of Divorce in 1643 at the beginning of the English Civil War. In August of that year, he presented his thoughts to the Westminster Assembly of Divines, which had been created by the Long Parliament to bring greater reform to the Church of England. The Assembly convened on 1 July against the will of King Charles I. Milton's thinking on divorce caused him considerable trouble with the authorities. An orthodox Presbyterian view of the time was that Milton's views on divorce constituted a one-man hearsay. The fervently Presbyterian Edwards had included Milton's divorce tracts in his list in gangrena of heretical publications that threatened the religious and moral fabric of the nation. Milton responded by knocking him at shallow Edwards in the satirical sonnet on the new forces of conscience under the Long Parliament, usually dated to the latter half of 1646. Even here, though his originality is qualified, Thomas Gatecar had already identified mutual solace as a principal goal in marriage. Milton abandoned his campaign to legitimize divorce after 1645, but he expressed support for polygamy in the Doctrina Christiana, the theological treatise that provides the clearest evidence for his views. Milton wrote during a period when thoughts about divorce were anything but simplistic. Rather, there was active debate among thinkers and intellectuals at the time. Milton However, Milton's basic approval of divorce within strict parameters set by the biblical witness was typical of many influential Christian intellectuals, particularly the Westminster's divines. Milton addressed the assembly on the matter of divorce in August 1643, at a moment when the assembly was beginning to form its opinion on the matter. In the Doctrine and Discipline of Divorce, Milton argued that divorce was a private matter, not a legal or ecclesiastical one. Neither the Assembly nor Parliament condemned Milton or his ideas. In fact, when the Westminster Assembly wrote the Westminster Confession of Faith, they allowed for divorce of marriage and divorce, chapter 24, section 5. In cases of infidelity or abandonment, thus, the Christian community, at least a majority within the Puritan subsect, approved of Milton's views. Nevertheless, reaction among Puritans to Milton's views on divorce was mixed. Herbert Palmer, a member of the Westminster Assembly, condemned Milton in the strongest possible language. If any plead conscience for divorce for other causes than Christ and his apostles mention, of his a wicked book is abroad and uncensored, though deserving to be burnt, whose author hath been so impudent as to set his name to it and dedicate it to yourselves. Will you grant a toleration for all this? The glass of God's providence towards his faithful ones, 1644, page number 55. Palmer expressed his disapproval in a sermon addressed to the Westminster Assembly. The Scottish Commissioner Robert Bailey described Palmer's sermon as one of the most Scottish and free sermons that ever I heard anywhere. So this is the thinking of divorce of Milton. And thank you for listening to these views on Milton, how Milton thought about divorce in our private life. So, according to Milton, divorce is a private issue, not a societal issue. So, divorce should be if there is the thinking of separation or abandonment. And thank you very much. Bye bye.